Welcome to Airbnb Hosting 101. In this video, I will demonstrate how you can rent a property on Airbnb right from scratch. But before I dive in and start sharing my screen, I want to quickly address a few important questions you may have in mind. The property you can list on Airbnb can be a house or a flat. It can be a cabin, tiny house, tree house. The list is elaborate. And the property can either be a shared space, like renting out a room in your home, or it can be an entire property like a standalone house or an apartment. And you don't need to provide any property related documents to Airbnb. As long as you have the access to the property and you can let the guest access the property, Airbnb will not ask about your association with the property. And there should be a bathroom in the property which the guest can access at any time. And it should be furnished. It cannot be an empty property. It should have some minimum basic things like bed, linen, pillows, blankets, etc. And obviously the more the better. Along with this, you will also need to provide some basic essentials like a toilet paper and soap. And these are just bare minimum things I'm telling you need to have. And generally people provide a lot more other things. And once you have all these things in place, you can start listing your property on Airbnb. And these are the things you will need during the listing creation process. Good quality photos of each space the guest will have access to. And you can use your smartphone to take pictures. There is no real need for professional photographers. And try to use a computer when creating your listing. It is much easier when you do it from a computer as compared to their phone app. And during the listing process, Airbnb will need your ID proof. So keep your driving license or passport handy. And you will also need to have a working phone number with you, which Airbnb will use as part of the identity verification process. And one last thing before I jump into the listing creation process, listing your property on Airbnb doesn't mean people can start booking your property right away. You will have full control to stop bookings by unpublishing it or blocking your calendar. So don't worry if you're not ready to start letting guests in right away. Just keep watching this video and I will show you how you can control the availability and when it becomes bookable. And without further ado, let me start sharing my screen. Click on the first link in the description below. That will take you to this Airbnb page. This is a special referral page. Because I'm an Airbnb ambassador, they allow me to invite people to their platform and help them list their properties on Airbnb. You can start by clicking on Create Your Listing button here, and then it will ask you to log in. If you do not have a login, you can always create by choosing one of these options, or if you do have a login, just choose the relevant option. Once you're logged in, click on Agree and Continue, and then click on Create Your Listing. Now the screens you will see from this point onwards, they do keep changing. Airbnb keeps experimenting different layouts, but over the last few years the process is the same. So if you don't see exactly the same screen, don't worry about it, just keep moving forward. And the reason I'm telling you this is listing on Airbnb is a two-step process. We are going to create the listing once without worrying about too much detail and publish the listing. And once it is published, we will unpublish it and then work on the full details of the listing. And the reason we're going to do that is when you're creating a listing for the first time, as you will see in the following screens, Airbnb doesn't give you much options. They don't even ask you for a cleaning fee or a pet fee or a lengthy description. They will simply show us a couple of screens and take us to publish button straight after. So if you don't see all that information, don't worry about it. The trick is you need to publish it once, unpublish it straight after, and then when you go back into your listing, you will see hundreds of other options which you won't see in this first stage. I hope that makes sense. So let me just show you how it works. Click on Get Started option here, and there is no other option, so I'll click on Next again. Now it is asking me to choose the property type. My property is a house. I'll click on that and choose Next. And now it is asking whether it is an entire place or a room in a home, or it is a shared room like a hostel. In my case, it is an entire place, so I will choose that and click Next. I will type in the address here. Try and enter all the address details, and down below you will see your property location. There is this option whether you want to show the specific location of your property. So when you flick that, when people are looking at your property, they'll be able to see the exact location of your property on map. But if you do not want that, you can just switch this off, and after that it will just show this big circle telling people it is somewhere in this. In my experience, it is always better to show specific location if you're okay with that, and then click on next. And on this screen it is asking me to verify whether the map location is correct. If you feel it is slightly off, you can drag this map, and until you see the correct location, leave it there and click on next. And now on this screen, it is asking you to confirm how many guests your property can have, the number of bedrooms it has, number of beds it has, and the bathrooms it has. Change these numbers to correctly reflect your property, and then click next. And I will click next again on the following screen. At any point during this process, because you're using my special referral link, if at any point, if you're not clear or if you have any question, you can just click on this questions button here on the top right. You will always be able to just message me from here. Just click on message Prayas and I will respond to your query as soon as possible. Anyway, moving back to the listing process, now it is showing me the amenities my property has. Don't worry about going through this list entirely because we are going to revisit all these sections again. So I won't bother much about these things at this point. I will just choose a couple and click on next. And now it is asking me to add photos. Just click on add photos and browse to the photo location on your computer. Choose them all and click on upload. It will take a couple of minutes depending on how many photos you are uploading, but in my experience, the more photos you can add, the better it is. As long as they are not duplicate photos, people love to see pictures. So try and add as many pictures as you can. Try and have 2 pictures of every space in your property from 2 different angles. And try and include a photo which shows the entire property from the outside, and possibly you can try and show the street as well. It is extremely important for people. And don't worry about the order of the photos here because we are going to revisit all of this at a later point. Once you've added all the pictures you wanted to add, just click on upload, and once the upload is finished, this pop-up will disappear. So just wait until it uploads the pictures and you will see these 3 flickering dots here at this stage. Now, as you can see, it has uploaded all the pictures, and not only that, it has also automatically reorganized the pictures in a way which Airbnb thinks is the best for your property. But if you want to rearrange them for some reason, don't worry about it. We will revisit all these in the later section. Click on next. Now it is asking us to give us a title for your property. So just type in something like home in Edinburgh. Again, don't worry about this title. We will revisit in a greater detail at a later stage. And on here, just choose 2 options which correctly reflect your place. In my case, I will choose these 2 options and click on next. And now it is asking me to write a description of my property. At this point, I won't bother about writing the description. It automatically comes with this pre-populated line. I will just move on because I'm going to write a better description in the second stage. Click on next. And as I mentioned, it is now starting to take us towards the publish step, which is going to be the first step completed. And before that, it is asking whether you want to have instant booking on your property, or do you want to manually review your first 5 bookings. If you're comfortable with it, try and choose instant book. It is always better, but I can understand because you're doing it for the first time, you may want to review every reservation, at least in the starting. So choose the option you decide to go with and then click on next. And now it is asking whether you want your first guest to be an experienced Airbnb guest or they can be new to Airbnb as well. Depending on what you prefer, just choose the option and click on next. And now it is asking me to choose a price for the property. Again, don't worry about this. It will automatically come up with a standard price they think for your property, which is always lower than you would actually get in the market. So don't bother about at this stage. I will show you better options later in this video. Click on next. And lastly, it is asking you to add discounts. The first option is 20% discount for your first 3 bookings. I think it is a great idea to choose this option because it will get you started. You will be offering 20% discount to first 3 bookings. It will help you get started. It will help you establish because there are other listings with lots and lots of reviews. So you need to give some incentive to the guests to book your property instead of more established properties on Airbnb. And the next 2 options are weekly and monthly discount. Don't worry about these 2 options at this point because you will have plenty of time to think about this later in the stages. And lastly, it is asking whether you want to host as a private individual or you want to host as a business. So choose the appropriate option and review these security options, whether you have an exterior camera or a monitoring device for noise or any weapons in the property. Ideally, you should not have any weapon on the property, but if you have any exterior cameras or a noise decibel monitor, just make sure you tick them off. It is a bad idea to not declare these things on your listing. And once you're happy with it, click on Create Listing. And after that, it will come up with this pop-up. Now, this is the end of stage 1. They're asking you to verify your identity and your phone number before you can publish your listing. So click on that Finish Up option. And on the following screen, it will show you these multiple options. Just go through all these options. If there are any licenses required in your area, they will have this option. Then the second is verify your identity, verify your listing, where they will ask you to take some videos of your property. And lastly, they will ask you to confirm your phone number. All these options are self-explanatory, and because of privacy reasons, I can't show you my ID verification process, but just click on these arrows and the process to complete these steps is pretty self-explanatory. You will need a phone or a camera handy because at some point they will ask you to take a live photo and provide some government ID that matches your photo. Once you have done all these steps, you will receive an email from Airbnb, which will look like this. Your identity is verified. That means this is the point where you can log into Airbnb and carry on completing the rest of the setup process. And if in case there were some issues with your verification process, they will send you a separate email asking you to provide more documents. After that, when you log into Airbnb and go to airbnb.com/hosting, which is your hosting dashboard, your screen will look like this. Now, the only thing you will see different is on this section of the page, you will see Publish Now button. By mistake, I clicked Publish Now when I was not recording this video. So instead of it showing you this, you will see a Publish Now button. So when you log back in and you see that Publish Now button, it will be in a red font. Just click on that Publish Now button. And straight after that, click on Listings, choose your listing, click on these icons, the setting icons here, and click on Listed Status and just click on Unlisted. And click on Unlist for now at the bottom. The reason we are unlisting it right now is because this is the step where we want to work on the complete details of the listing before we actually want to make it publicly available to people. So click on the reason here and then click on Unlist. Now the property is unlisted. No one can see it on Airbnb. And now we will go in and populate all the sections carefully. After this, click on the back arrow that will take you to your listing editor. Now this is your property dashboard. This is where all the magic happens. And you would have already noticed there are a lot more details on this section as compared to what Airbnb prompted us when we originally started creating the listing. Now, when you come back to your listing, you will see the first section is the photos. You can click on this plus icon and click on Add Photos. If you have more rooms or spaces you want to add to your listing, you can click on Add a Room or Space, and this is where it will let you choose a room or a space. Once you've done all that, click on All Photos here, and then it will prompt you to arrange photos. They are going to use AI to rearrange the photos in a way Airbnb thinks will be the best, and I believe it is a good idea. So just click on Arrange Photos, and now you can see it has automatically rearranged all the photos based on a logic which Airbnb thinks is the best. There are a couple of things you can do on each photo. For example, you can just click on this photo and you can move it from one room to the other. Airbnb has automatically categorized based on what they could see in the images. But if you feel the photos are not categorized correctly, you can just click on Move from this space and you can move it to any other space of the property, as well as you can write a description of every space. Once you've done all that, you can go back, and the next section is the title section. This is where you will type in the title of your property. I have pre-written my title, so I will just override this and click on Save. Next is the property type. This is where you can mention what kind of property it is, if it is a flat or a house. In my case, it is a house. And a property type is a home, and it's an entire place spread over 2 floors, and the listing contains both the floors. And you can mention when it was built and what is the property size. Category is something which is automatically populated by Airbnb. Once you publish it, you can come back to your listing in few days and you will see the category Airbnb thinks your property falls under. Once all that is done, click on save and move on to the next section, which is the pricing section. The first option in the pricing section is the smart pricing. Smart pricing is a tool offered by Airbnb by which they automatically keep updating the price of your property based on how busy it is and the demand and other factors. In my experience, smart pricing always offers a price which is usually lower than the market price, so I don't use that. There are third-party dynamic pricing tools which I use for my properties, and I will leave a link for them in the description below. Next is the nightly price and the custom weekend price. This is where you can mention the nightly price for your property. This can be the average price for your property on an ideal day, as well as you can mention a custom weekend price. For example, if you want to charge something extra for Friday and Saturday nights, this is where you can set them up. We will revisit all these pricing settings later on in a greater detail because the same settings are available under the calendar section, which we will visit later on in this video. And down below, you can mention the weekly and the monthly discount. Let me go to the next section on the left, which is the availability section. This is where you can mention the minimum nights you would allow a booking for and the maximum nights. Next is advance notice. This is where you can mention how close to the arrival you want the booking. I usually keep same day bookings, but if you want at least 1 day lead time, you can choose that or any of the other values. And the next option is guest can book on the same day until what time. I generally choose 8 o'clock for my property, which basically means if someone wants to book it for tonight, they have to book it before 8 o'clock. After 8, my property becomes unavailable for that night. Moving on to the next section on the left hand side, which is the number of guests. This is where you can increase or decrease the number of guests. In my property, I have 3 bedrooms. They all sleep 2. So 6 is the actual count, but if you want to increase or decrease it, you can do so by clicking on this plus and minus. Next is a description. This is where you can add the description of your property. This is a listing summary. So try and be wise because there is a character limit of 500 characters in this field. Try to pass on the key information which will impress the guest instead of mentioning which may not be so critical to someone looking at your property. I have pre-written the description, so let me just copy that. Another thing is I like to write the listing description in bullet points rather than a long paragraphs, because I believe that makes it more inviting. If it is in bullet points, people feel they can read it rather than having a long blurb. Next is your property section. This is where you can mention all about your property, what areas there will be and what they can do. There is no limit in this field, so feel free to add as many details as you want in this section. I have pre-written all this, so I will just paste my details here and move on to the next one. Next is guest access. This is where you can mention the areas which are off limits to the guest, or if there is something very specific you want the guest to access or not access, you can clearly mention all those things here. Click on save and move on to the next section, which is interaction with the guests. This is where you can mention if you will be around, if you live next door, or if you're just going to be reachable over the phone or Airbnb app. And the last section here is other details to note. This is where you can mention any other detail which you've not had the opportunity to mention in here. All these fields are free text fields, so feel free to add as many details as you want, but these are not mandatory fields, so you can skip them altogether if you want. But the listing description, I believe, is the most important one, so make sure you write an enticing listing description. Moving on the left hand side, the next is the amenities section. This is one of the most important sections of your listing. This is where you can highlight everything your property has, from minute details such as coffee, a blender or linen and all those things. And to add them, you'll need to click on this plus icon and it will display all the amenities Airbnb lets you highlight. Make sure you go through all of these things one by one and try and tick as many as you can. It's a very, very long list, so you can keep scrolling down, and I suggest spend some time on highlighting all the amenities your property offers. Moving on, the next is accessibility feature. In my experience, it is extremely cumbersome to populate accessibility features because everything you check here, you will have to upload a photo proof and Airbnb will verify it, and only after that they will approve it. I personally do not populate all these fields, but feel free to do that if that is something you feel important. Next is the location section. This is where you can work on all the location details of your property. The first option here is verify your listing. This is a new feature Airbnb has recently added. They will ask you to log in from a phone and go to the property, and they will verify the location that you have access to that property. This is mainly to clear all the doubts about location of the property, and your property will have a badge saying verified location on Airbnb. So I think it is a good thing. So try and do this step. Click on this verify your listing, and then they will walk you through the steps. It's pretty simple, so I won't go into the detail. Coming back to location, there is one more thing is if you feel your property location is not exactly right on this map, you can correct it by just clicking adjust button here, and you can drag this map to correct the location. Once you're happy with it, you can click on save. Moving further down on this page, you will see address. This is where you can correct the address. Keep in mind, Airbnb won't let you change the address once you start receiving bookings. So if there are any corrections to be done in the address, do it before you start receiving your first booking. The next is the location sharing. This is where you can mention whether you want to show precise location of your property or if you just want to show a general location. It is a good idea to show the precise location if you have no reason to hide location of your property. And there is one more option here, which is address privacy for cancellations. If you tick this box, Airbnb won't share the listing address, your phone number, and your last name until the free cancellation period of the booking has passed. This is mainly to protect your privacy. Once you're done, click on save and move on to the next section, which is the location features. Make sure you review all these features and try and tick as many as you can. Next is neighborhood description. This is again a free text field where you can highlight all the features of your neighborhood, like a grocery store or a pharmacy nearby or your favorite restaurants and all that. And next is getting around. Again, a free text field, and you can mention how to get there, if they need to take a taxi or a bus or a train, all those details. And the last section in the location is the scenic views. They give you a predefined list of scenic views your property can have. Make sure you review all these and check the views which you believe your property has. It's extremely important. And once you're done, click on save. Moving further down is the about the host section. This is the profile section. If you can add your profile picture and edit all these details, which do make a difference to people. Try and populate as many as you can. Moving on the left hand side is the co-host section. This is where you can invite somebody to co-host your property. You can click on invite someone you know and enter their phone number or their email address. They will receive an invite on Airbnb, and once they accept it, they will be able to access your property and help you with the guest communication and all other bits of running an Airbnb. Going further down is the booking settings. By default, Airbnb turns instant booking on, which basically means anyone can book the property without waiting for your approval. But if you're not happy with this, you can choose approve all bookings option, which will turn off the instant booking, and then you will have 24 hours to review every booking request, and you can approve or decline. And when you have instant booking on, you have two more options with it. You can tick this box, which means anyone with a good track record. That means people who have traveled on Airbnb in the past and have positive reviews can book the property instantly without waiting for your approval. As well as you can add a custom message. You can ask them any question, and only after they answer that question, they will be able to confirm their reservation. Going back to the previous screen and scrolling down further on the left, this is your house rules section. This is where you can mention if pets are allowed, if you allow events in your property, if you allow smoking, quiet hours, commercial photography, and number of guests. Check-in and check-out time is an important field, so do not miss that. Click on check-in and check-out time and mention the check-in window first. For my properties, I always choose 3 o'clock as the check-in start time, and my properties have a key lockbox, so they can come anytime they want. So I choose flexible, which basically means after 3 o'clock, they can come and pick up the keys anytime they want. And for the checkout time, I always prefer 11 o'clock. So 11 o'clock is the latest by when they have to leave the property. This gives my cleaners 4-hour window to prepare the property for the next guest. And once you're done, click on save. And the last option in house rules is the additional rules. This is where you can mention any custom rules you want to apply for your property. For example, if you do not want people to be wearing shoes in your property, or anything else which is very specific to your property, you can mention them all here. Moving further down, The guest safety section, this is again just go into all these sections and read all these different options here and make sure you tick them as they are applicable to your property. Next is the cancellation policy on the left hand side. This is where you can first choose the short-term stay cancellation policy. By default, you will notice they choose flexible, but you can go over to moderate if you want, but there are limited and firm cancellation policies as well. In my experience, flexible and moderate cancellation policy gets you the maximum amount of bookings. The stricter you get, the less bookings you will get. Additionally, there is a non-refundable option here as well. So if you want to offer the guest a 10% discount in exchange for a non-refundable booking, you can do so here as well. And the last option here is a long-term stays. This is where you can change the long-term cancellation policy. They have two options and you can read all about that here. Moving further down is the last option, which is the custom link, which is nothing but it lets you create a simple URL for your listing, which makes it easier to share with your friends and family. So that is the first tab of your listing editor page, which is your space. Let's go into arrival guide now. Check-in and check-out is the first section here. These fields get carried over from the previous section we populated, but you can change them here again. Directions is another free text field where you can mention the travel directions to your property, and these details will be accessible to the guest only after they've confirmed their reservation. They won't be able to see these fields before the reservation. Check-in method is the next field. This is where you can mention whether your property has a keypad or a lockbox, or if there is someone greeting them in person on arrival, and all those options. Wi-Fi details is the next. Make sure you mention the Wi-Fi network name and password. This is the first thing guests will ask for when they arrive, and if you mention it here, Airbnb makes it obvious for them so they don't come to you for these details. Next is a house manual. This is where you can mention all the details about your appliances and how they can use them, etc. You can be as descriptive as you want in this field. Further down is the house rules section again. Just review it again. It is carried over from the first section. I don't know, for some reason Airbnb has this section in two places, but it is a good idea to review it all over again. Following that is the checkout instructions. This is where you can mention what you want the guests to do before departure. You can click on add instructions, and for example, I've chosen gather used towels and turn off things, and you can add anything specific you want to your property. Further down is the guidebook. This is where you can mention your local recommendations like restaurants, sightseeing, etc. It's pretty simple. I won't go into the detail at this point. Going further down is the interaction preferences. This is where you can mention whether you're going to be available in person or you will only be available through the app or phone. And with this, we have done the two tabs, your space and arrival guide. There is one more option here, which people often miss, is the settings. So when you click on this settings icon next to arrival guide, we have been in this section before to unlist the property. The next section is the language section. You can add a language, and all it does is it will let you add some details in another language of your choice. The third option here is the guest requirements. You can tick this box, and after that, only people who have uploaded a profile photo will be able to book your property. The next option is the guest requirements, and when you tick this option, only travelers who have uploaded a profile picture will be able to book your property. Local laws, regulations, and taxes. This is where you can find out all the local laws in your area. Airbnb populates it based on the location of your property. Same with the regulations and taxes. Under regulations, you can add any license number or a permit number or any other regulatory requirement which may be applicable in your area. These three sections vary hugely depending on each location, so make sure you review all these three sections carefully. And lastly is the remove listing option. If it comes to removing your listing, this is where you will come and delete your listing. You will first choose an option that is applicable to you and just follow the prompts after that. We have done all the hard work on reviewing all the details of your property and populating as much as you could to make it inviting and providing as much information to the guest. But there is one more thing you still need to do. Click on calendar after that. And that will open up your calendar and you can see all the dates. The grayed out ones are the ones which are blocked, and you can open them by just selecting multiple dates and flick this button to open nights, and that will open those dates for you. And the same way, if you want to block some dates, you can just click on them and click on block nights or open nights. It's pretty simple, self-explanatory. There is another menu on the right hand side. You will notice the first one is the base price and the custom weekend price. We saw these options earlier as well, but now this is the final point where you should review these settings. And if you want to try smart pricing, you can tick that box on, and you will see Airbnb after that starts updating your prices based on something which they feel is the right price for your property. Further down is the weekly and monthly discounts again. And if you want to offer any additional discounts like early bird discount or a last minute discount, you can add them here. And going further down is the promotions. You will see the active promotions. For example, for this property, we chose 20% off for first 3 bookings. But if you want to delete that, you can click edit and delete that. And the last section here is the fee section. It is one of the most important section. I don't know why Airbnb keeps it so tucked away. This is where you would mention your cleaning fee for the property and any pet fee if you want. And the last option here is the extra guest fee. For example, if my property sleeps 4 and I want to charge $100 extra after 4th guest, this is where you would mention, and you can change the guest count here. Once all done, go back, and when you scroll up, there is another tab here, which is the availability section. And you can set your minimum nights, maximum nights, custom trip lengths, advance notice, which we saw earlier, same day advance notice time, and preparation time. Preparation time is if you need a lead time between 2 bookings, like 1 day between 2 bookings, you can choose that. And further down, you will see more availability settings. If you want to restrict check-in on specific days, this is where you can do that. And the same for the restricted checkout. You can just simply choose those days and click on save. There's one more section here I missed, which is availability window. This is where you can choose how far in advance you want your calendar to be open for people to book. If you choose 12 months, it will keep opening the calendar 12 months in future on rolling basis. But you can choose that to 3 months, 6 months, or dates unavailable by default. And if you choose unavailable by default, it will block all the dates on your calendar, and then you will have to go into specific dates and open just those dates when you want to host somebody. And the last option here is connect to another website. If you want to list your property on another platform like booking.com or VRBO, you will click on that and you will import their calendar. There is a very specific method of doing that. There is another video I've recorded explaining how you can do that, so I won't go into that detail at the moment. These are all the settings you want to do for your listing. But before we publish our listing, you want to set how you want to get paid. And that is the last step before we publish the listing. So click on your profile image on the top right and click on account. After that, click on payments and payouts, and then click on the second option, which is the payouts option. And you can just click on setup payouts, add your bank details or any other option which may be applicable in your area. I won't be able to show exactly what are the options because the options vary depending on where you are and the country you are in and all those things. But just follow the steps in this section. Set up your payout method. It doesn't have to be done before you publish your listing, but try and do this as soon as possible. Once you've done that, you will click on switch to hosting. That will take you back to your hosting dashboard. Go into your listing, click on it again, and now it is the time to publish your listing. So click on this settings icon and then click on listing status and click on listed and list your space. Your property won't be bookable straight away. Airbnb takes up to 24 hours while it does all the quality checks on your listing. So don't expect the bookings will start arriving in the next few hours. Wait a day or two. You should start receiving your bookings in the next 2 or 3 days. And that brings me to the end of this video. I really hope you find this video useful. Please do like and subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment if you would like me to make a video about something which is troubling you. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Happy hosting.